My name's Angela Capers. I've been attending this church for about 22 years, and we go to the 10:30 service. I have a confession. Faith did not come easily for me. I have an analytical mind. I'm literally a scientist. Although I grew up in a Christian family with ministers and missionaries, and we prayed at our family gatherings and at bedtime, I just had no understanding of what the gospel was or who Jesus was. And once I learned the evolutionary theory in school, I decided that the Bible was probably not true and that God probably didn't exist. I was talking to a friend in college once, and I asked her how she could actually believe in God. And she said, well, you just have to have faith. And that just wasn't good enough for me. My mind doesn't work that way, and I need evidence. But I have another confession. I'm actually pretty happy. Always have been, had a great childhood, and living the American dream with happy marriage, a house, 2 kids and a dog, although no picket fence. But can't have it all, can you? But something was missing. Life was just about me and my little family. I wasn't generous at all with my time or my money. And I did volunteer in a nursing moms group as a leader here at the church, but I don't think I was volunteering out of pure desire to help others, but more to meet my needs. Eventually, I started thinking that since we were going to homeschool the boys, we needed to find a church just so they'd be in church and have a reason for a moral compass besides just mommy and daddy said so. And also to meet more kids and have other opportunities for activities and things like choir and other things. So, being the scientist that I am, I started researching all kinds of religions. During this time, God was really working to get through to me in ways that I needed. I had FOMO from a Christian book that everybody was talking about, and so I decided to read it, and that led me to having some questions, and so I started to read the Bible. And then also around this time, God was putting evidence in front of me. I just was channel surfing and ran across a TV show that was about holes in the evolutionary theory and evidence and proof that stories and events in the Bible were true. And also at the Christian homeschooling convention that I happened to go to that year, the keynote speaker was a Christian scientist. So there was all that evidence that also started opening me up to the idea that maybe there is truth in the Bible, maybe there really is a God. So then I was coming here to the nursing moms meeting, and I noticed a brochure on the bulletin board for the Alpha course, which said that it was all about the basics of Christianity, and I thought that would be perfect to learn more. And so my husband and I signed up for that. And then 4 days before we were supposed to start the class, I was, guess what, researching churches in the area. And I ran across a page on one of the church's websites that explained the gospel and who Jesus was. And as I was reading it, all of a sudden I was on my knees in tears praying to accept Christ. So since that day in 2003, I've been growing in my faith. I've become generous with my time and my money, started tithing and serving, mostly in high school ministries and on the church board eventually, and then also several mission trips. I just became more generous with both my time and my money. And I also started to realize that I might actually need other people too. 10 years ago, I had the worst year of my life. 2 of my closest friends and my grandma all battled cancer that year. Within a 2-month period, I lost a friend and an aunt and an uncle. And then my dad's Parkinson's and Alzheimer's started to progress so rapidly that we had to call in hospice. But during this time, when I was trying to handle things on my own, I was stressed and I was depressed and I was making some destructive choices, and I just felt isolated and disconnected. Luckily, two great friends from my life group and then two amazing pastors from here at the church recognized this, and they were there for me. They called me out, they stepped in to help, and they drew me closer to God again. I finally realized I could not do things on my own, and in fact, I wasn't alone. I always had God and then the people that He placed in my life. So I knew I didn't have to do things all on my own anymore. And I actually, even in the midst of all the horrible circumstances I was going through, started to experience true joy and true peace. I did also experience blessings through every single terrible circumstance that happened that year. I experienced blessings either in growth or healing or deepening relationships, and it was within myself and then also in those relationships that I experienced the healing and growth in ways that I wouldn't have if not for God. What my faith means to me, it means I'm not alone. I have God and I have the people that He's placed in my life. It also means that I have a purpose. And although that looks different at different times in my life, my primary purpose is always to share Jesus and His love so that other people can experience the peace and joy that only Jesus can bring.